I'm gonna tell you a really embarrassing story about the time I first started working out. It's around the summer of 2022. The summer break is almost starting and I meet this one girl. She is pretty. I like her. She seems to like me too. And long story short, we go out on a date to a sushi place together. And keep in mind, this was before I started self-improvement. This was during the time I was still a League of Legends player. So the date was super awkward. I was stumbling over my words. I had weird body language. I was touching my face, fixing my hair, asking her these interview questions, like what's your favorite color, and other stupid shit like that. The girl was bored and kept checking her phone. So then we finally eat our food and both go home. And I remember that I knew I ruined the date and just how sad I was, because this was the first girl ever who showed some interest in me, and I ruined it. When I was taking the bus home, I knew I needed to start improving, so this would not happen anymore. I didn't know about Hamza or any of these other self-improvement YouTubers, so I didn't have anyone to learn from, but I knew this. I could start working out. I could build a good physique that I'm proud of. I thought that once I built a good physique, she would see me one day and regret not putting in more effort into our date, even though it going wrong was totally my fault. I just convinced myself that it was her fault, but I'm actually kinda glad I did, because it's the reason I started working out. I already used to work out before, when I was like 10, but then stopped because I wanted to do something else. But from that time, I had something that really helped me during this period before I started going to an actual gym. I had a bench press and some weights. And so from that day, I started working out. Of course, at first I was inconsistent. But after I got out of this stage of being inconsistent, I started wondering how I could improve, how I could train better, eat better, etc. And so I started learning and trying out new things. And in this video, I will tell you exactly everything I learned from all those years of lifting and learning about lifting. I feel like there has been a lot of disinformation in the fitness space recently, and that's one of the reasons I want to make this video. I think that most of you watching believe at least one of these wrong pieces of information. So I recommend you watch the whole thing, because just one of these mistakes could cost you a lot of muscle mass over the years. So let's start. I will put the information into chapters so it's easier to learn. Chapter number 1, Diet. Have you noticed that the phrase, "you are what you eat," hasn't been talked about much in the past couple of years? Back when I was like 10, it was being talked about much more. Nowadays, I haven't heard it once, and I feel like this isn't just me. Everyone stopped caring about their diet completely. This was mainly caused by the new fitness influencers. They realized that they get much more views when they show that they are eating unhealthy foods and they are still jacked. And so they started to do this. They started preaching that as long as something fits your macros, it's fine to eat. But if you know anything about nutrition, you know that that's complete bullshit. When you look at the diet of these influencers, they are actually eating like fucking children. And they are preaching this to young men who want to build muscle. Fitness influencers are supposed to preach being fit and healthy. Instead, they are just capitalizing on young men who idolize them. They just see, oh, he is jacked and he eats cereal all the time, so I'll eat it too and get jacked just like him. And they end up getting fat because the fitness influencers who preach this are on steroids, and that's how they can eat like children and still be muscular. When I was learning about this, I didn't really understand how that worked. I mean, if it fits your macros, then there shouldn't be a problem, right? But no. Because, for example, if you eat an apple and some candy, and they have the exact same amount of carbs, calories, protein, and fat. The apple has vitamins on the top, it has fiber, it has copper, which are all super healthy, and so by extent it helps your fitness progress. And the candy has none of that, and so it punishes your fitness progress instead. The candy also messes up your gut microbiome, because we as humans haven't really evolved from our caveman ancestors. And they could only digest the natural foods they had back then, and since we are practically the same as them, we can't digest these weird chemicals they put in the candy. The foods we eat nowadays can also have estrogenics in them, which negatively impact our testosterone levels, and when your testosterone is low, it lowers the amount of muscle mass your body has. I will talk about that more in the chapter about testosterone, so stay tuned. And so you may wonder, what should we eat then? Well, eat real foods as your ancestors did. Eat meat, eggs, vegetables, fruit, nuts, and drink only water. I can already hear all the little chumps making excuses. Oh, but my parents cook for me. Our family doesn't buy those foods. You could make those excuses, sure. But you can also have some humility and realize that the problem you have can be solved by just trying. Tell your parents that you want to start eating healthier. I don't think that any parent will say no to that. Tell your parents to buy you more meat, or go shopping with them and tell them what you want to get. I mean, you are a man, figure it out. But of course, don't be a dick. When your mom cooks you something, then eat it. But for example, if she makes some fries and some regular meat, take some fries and more of the meat. So if you can't completely switch to the diet I just described, do it just partially as much as you can. Are you paying attention to this video? Or are you already thinking about what to watch next? Are you already scrolling through the comments to see what people are saying? Brother, your attention span is fucked. Come on, focus. Chapter 2, Training. If younger me was watching this, he would have probably skipped this chapter because he would think, oh well, it's just training. I know how to do that, but training is not as easy as you think. Recently, there has been a lot of influencers who promote ego lifting, and to be honest, even I believed them for a while, until just recently. I thought that the form on the exercise I do didn't really have that much of an impact. I thought that if I just do 12 reps on each exercise, I would be fine, because that's the hypertrophy rep range. And I think that many young men today are also falling into this trap. It's only when you try the proper technique of an exercise that you realize how much better it is and how much more muscle contraction you feel. The first time I tried the proper form of an exercise, I think it's called a cable row or something. I'll put it up on the screen. After that, my lats were sore for the next 3 days because they weren't used to being trained so intensely. I've been doing it like this for a few weeks now, and I think I already see some difference in my physique because I just look fuller. I can't tell you the proper technique of every exercise, so you will have to do that yourself. Just take it as a form of training, because the more exercises you learn the proper form of, the more gains you will make. There have also been a lot of people recently who have been preaching athletic training, saying that you should be doing your exercises standing up to strengthen your core. And it's fine to train like that if you want to be an athlete, but if your main priority is to build muscle, then doing the exercises while sitting will be much better for you, because you will be able to engage the muscles you actually want to train instead of the other stabilizer muscles. But also, just to be clear, I am not saying that you should train sitting on your ass all the time. Definitely switch it up sometimes to also engage the core, but most of your training, if your goal is to build a lot of muscle, should be spent sitting. Chapter 3, Sleep. I think I have researched this topic the most out of any others in this video. I don't know why, but I just like learning about sleep. I've watched a bunch of podcasts and videos about this, so I think I know basically everything you need to know to have perfect sleep and speed up your gains. There has actually been some people who were so stupid to say that sleeping doesn't have that much of an impact on gains, which is complete and utter bullshit. I won't call out names because I don't want to upset anyone, but it is a big YouTuber. His argument behind this was that the high school students, the jocks, or whatever they are called, have shit sleep because they go to a party almost every day, and they are still building a fair amount of muscle. Which might be true, but we want to maximize our gains. We don't just want a fair amount of muscle, we want to be jacked. And so sleep is crucial. I'll now quickly summarize to you everything I learned from those hours of educating myself about sleep. First thing, just don't be a fucking chump before bedtime. Don't play video games, don't watch TikTok, because those are both overstimulating. Or you know what? I wanted this to be quick, but I actually want to talk more about this. When I tell this to people, they say, oh, but I need to unwind somehow after a long day. But when you are playing video games, your brain isn't unwinding. If we were to scan your brain during one of your video game sessions, would it be perfectly still like it's supposed to when you are unwinding? No, it would be all lit up, because you might be sitting on your computer chair, but your brain is working. It's trying to win the game, so it's not calm. The way to unwind is to just go into some room where it's quiet, lay down, close your eyes, and take deep breaths. That's how you calm down before bed, because it slows down your heart rate and lowers your brain activity. You can't do that when playing video games. Alright, I kinda got carried away with this one, so let's continue. The second thing is to avoid blue light before bed. It's simple to explain why that is. Blue light is too bright, and so when your brain sees it, it will feel too awake to go to sleep. So just solve this problem by turning on the night shift on your phone. It makes your screen a little orange, which is kinda annoying, but I think it's worth it. Some phones don't actually have a blue light filter. Mine didn't, so I just downloaded one. I simply wrote blue light filter into the search bar on Google Play and downloaded the first thing that came up. The third thing is to make your room as cold as possible. I don't actually know why is it that we sleep better when our body temperature is lower. But I think this ties back to our caveman ancestors, because they used to sleep outside, where it got colder during the night and hotter during the day, and so their bodies adapted to it. So it now knows that the night is cold and the day is hot, and so that is why we sleep better when it's cold. The fourth thing is to actually be tired before bed. If you aren't sleepy after you come back home from the gym, then you are training like a bitch, and you need to train harder next time. It's as simple as that. If you don't tire yourself by the physical activities you do during the day, then you don't deserve a good night of sleep. Chapter 5. Testosterone. You probably already know that testosterone is tied to the growth of your muscles, but there are actually a lot of other really helpful benefits which come from having high testosterone. You get more energy so you can work out without feeling lethargic, you heal quicker so you can train harder, and therefore you build more muscle. But I think that probably the best benefit of all is that effort feels good. When you have high testosterone, the effort you put into your goals will start feeling good. So that means that when you do something hard or difficult, it actually feels good for you, and if it feels good for you, you will want to do it more. So if you are struggling with motivation right now and you just don't want to work on your goals, it's because you have low testosterone. Just like sleep, I've been researching testosterone for the past few months, and I would like to say that I learned a lot. I've already made plenty of videos on this topic. And I think the best one so far is this one about the 5 everyday things destroying your testosterone, where I explain basically everything you need to know. It's an older video, so the edits are a bit bad, but I think you can make it through because the information is still on point. So after you watch this video, go watch that one to learn more about testosterone so you can speed up your gains. Chapter 6. Consistency. So now you know everything you need to know about maximizing your gains in the gym, but let's talk about something outside the gym now, which is probably even more important than all the other chapters, and that is consistency. The reason it's more important than any other step I talked about today is simple. If you aren't consistent in the gym, you won't make gains, because you have to be able to stick to your training plan. And that means going even if you don't feel like it. That means going even if it's raining, snowing, whatever. And those things are hard, I know. But there is actually a way you can make these hard things easier for yourself, and that is by improving your mental health, by making your mind stronger. Because when you think about it, who is telling you these excuses? Who is convincing you that you don't want to go to the gym even though you should? Well, it's your brain. It's your mind. And so surely if you improve your mind, if you make it stronger, it will stop telling you these pussy thoughts about skipping the gym. But how do you make it stronger? How do you improve your mental health? I am planning on releasing a full mental health guide next week, so if this video is already a week old, then it's probably already out. If it's already out, then it will be in the description so you can go check it out. But if you are watching this earlier, I will give you a quick sneak peek on the 2 basic habits that I personally started with. The first one is meditation. Meditation is basically just being present. The studies show that when you are present and there are no thoughts in your mind, you are the happiest, and therefore it's improving your mental health. And you know this, right? When you think about your childhood, before you got hit with all the modern day addictions and propaganda, you were much more present. You were always running around laughing without a single thought in your mind, and that's why you were happy. Nowadays, your mind is constantly full of thoughts. You are always overthinking, and that is destroying your mental health. But meditation is the way to reverse this damage that was caused by these modern-day addictions. And so, how do you meditate? I think the best way for you to understand it is to just let you try it out. So let's start. We will do a quick 1-minute meditation session together. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths. Breathe as deeply as you can through your nose and feel your body relaxing with every out breath. And now switch to your normal breathing pattern and focus on the breath. Focus on every little part of your body that the air touches, from your nose to your lungs, and whenever you get a thought, acknowledge it and continue focusing on the breath. Alright, and now I'll leave you around a minute so you can try it out. Alright, you can open your eyes now. Make sure to write in the comments how you liked it. There is actually one mistake that people make when they meditate, which is making their mental health worse. And that is when they think that having thoughts during meditating is bad, because it's actually not. Even though we are trying not to think of anything, having thoughts is actually a good thing. Of course, you shouldn't think of anything on purpose, but if you accidentally get a thought and then come back to the breath, that's like 1 rep for the brain. When you are training regularly at the gym, you do reps to make your muscles bigger and stronger. Well, these are reps for the brain, and they do the exact same thing, so it's a good thing. I think that you should meditate more often. I do it every day, and since I started doing it, my life has changed forever. And don't worry, you don't need to come back to this video every day just so you can meditate, even though it would be good for the retention on this video. Just download some app that has these meditation sessions already pre-made. This is the one I use. It's called Medito. It's a free app. I am not getting paid to tell you about them. I just use this app to meditate every day. So I think that since you have been watching this video for so long, we are similar, and you will like it too. I'll leave the download link in the description. Another habit you should do is gratitude journaling. Gratitude journaling is basically just writing down things you are grateful for. So just grab a piece of paper every day and think, what am I grateful for today? What do I appreciate about my life? And write it all down. If you do these 2 habits every day for just a few minutes, it will definitely help your gym progress. Well, anyway, that's it for today. Stay tuned for the upcoming video where I will talk much more about mental health, meditation, gratitude, etc., because that too will help your gym progress, just like I explained previously. And bye.